It was a crisp autumn morning when my 68-year-old mother, a retired librarian, found herself seated in first class on Flight 815, ready to fly to visit her grandchildren. Now picture this, my mom, who had dedicated her life to nurturing young minds, was excited to share stories and books with her grandkids, something that truly lit up her world. This trip wasn't just a jaunt. It was the gift of family from me, her son Julian, a CEO who had worked tirelessly to provide for her. But little did I know her trip was about to take a far darker turn. As she stepped onto the plane, she was welcomed by the vibe of anticipation, the chatter of excited travelers, laughter mingling with the hum of the aircraft. But soon after she settled into her seat, things started to unravel. That's when Brenda, the flight attendant with an iron fist for rules, rolled her eyes at Mom's carry-on bag, insisting it was too big to stow. I mean, really, a retired librarian? If there's anyone who can pack light, it would be her. Mom, polite as always, explained that she recently had a knee surgery, which made lifting heavy bags nearly impossible. But Brenda didn't care about kindness. All she saw was a rule that needed enforcing. Mom asked for some understanding, a simple accommodation, but it fell on deaf ears. Rules were rules. It felt like Brenda was more interested in asserting her authority than showing compassion, a hard pill to swallow. Time passed and my mother began feeling unwell, a nagging wave of fatigue washing over her. She glanced at her watch. Her blood sugar must be dipping. She discreetly asked for a glass of water, thinking it would help. Instead, Brenda's response hit like ice water. "You're creating a disturbance," she barked, eyes piercing a venomous tone, creeping into her otherwise cheerful demeanor. In front of fellow passengers, my mother was treated like a child throwing a tantrum, completely untrue. That's when I started to get those gut-wrenching texts from her, which took me from my office and into panic mode. I was at work managing a billion-dollar company, but all I could think about was my mom sitting there alone, miserable, a vulnerable target in a situation spiraling out of control. Suddenly, the plane was back at the gate, and with it came Officer Riker, who seemed to brim with authority as he stepped on board. His presence should have been reassuring, but instead it felt like he was there to validate Brenda's claims rather than understand the situation. "Ma'am," Riker said coolly, glancing at my mom, "you need to calm down." "Excuse me." I could feel my blood start to boil. "What do you mean, calm down?" This wasn't a case of her misbehaving. She was sick and being bullied. My mother, sitting there confused and humiliated, managed to gather her strength. She pulled out her phone, the lifeline she had to me, and made one call. "Jules, they're saying I'm making a scene." Her voice cracked, filled with so much desperation it shattered through my busy day. Without hesitation, I replied, "I'm coming." When I arrived at the airport, I could see the disbelief in my mother's eyes. Her small frame slumped, surrounded by airline staff, with Riker standing there, arms crossed, like he was judging a guilty criminal. I straightened my shirt, trying to project calm, but inside I was boiling. "Mom," I said, kneeling beside her. "I'm here now. What's going on?" Before she could answer, I turned to Officer Riker, and there was a shift in the air. "I'm Julian Stokes," I said, injecting authority into my voice. "And I'd like to know why my mother is being harassed right now. What's happened to compassion? Are we just following rules blindly?" Riker's demeanor froze, confusion flooded his face, but I pushed on, turning my gaze back to Brenda. "You have a choice in how you treat people. Even if they don't wear suits or make millions, they deserve respect. And that's all my mother needed here." In that moment, the tables turned. The passengers who had been silently watching the scene exploded, calling out Brenda for her inappropriate behavior, showcasing humanity when it mattered most. As it turned out, I wasn't the only one who had influence. This incident quickly went viral, and media attention turned on the airline like a spotlight. Soon after, Brenda was fired, crashing down from her position with wings clipped, while Riker, who'd been more enforcer than protector, lost his job too. It was a hard lesson for them both. Sometimes authority blinds you to the real human stories unfolding right in front of you. But it didn't end there. My mother, with her newfound notoriety, spoke out about her experience. She reflected on how easy it could have been for her voice to be lost had it not been for a critical moment of intervention. The incident led to crucial changes in company policies. New passenger rights established promised to protect those who are vulnerable. It wasn't just a personal victory, it was a win for many who had felt overlooked. So here I am sharing my mother's journey with you all today, and it raises some important questions. How often do we silence those around us, even unintentionally? When do we let authority overshadow our empathy? I want to know your thoughts. Have you ever experienced something like this? Let's talk about it in the comments. Share your stories, your experiences. Because at the end of the day, we all have a role to play in advocating for justice and compassion. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us about the power of empathy and standing up for what's right.